Good morning, everybody. Hope you're all well. Welcome back to my podcast. My name is Jill. I go by the name Miaou Crafts, and I'm just going to tell you a little bit about what I've been up to in this last while. It's been quite a while since I did a video. Didn't mean to leave it quite this long, but I've not been very well for the last sort of month, and so it kind of put it off a little bit. But I'm feeling a bit better now. Is this wonky? I think it'll do. I'm sorry. I'm not very professional. You'll see that. I'm not. I've been watching some other video podcasts recently, and I just thought, oh, they're all like edited so that it all flows really beautifully, and they've got little notes across the screen and everything. And I just think, I think I'm just going to stick with doing it how I do it. So it's a bit unprofessional, but I'd like to think that it's more about having a little chat. Tell you what, though, I've just realised is I haven't got my cup of tea. Bear with. You see, if I was professional, I would have paused that, wouldn't I? But I'm not, so I didn't. That's better. I don't think I could be able to talk for half an hour or whatever without a drink. So, excuse me while I just pour myself a cup of tea. Do you like my mug? It was a present from my partner. We went up to the Edinburgh Fringe, and while we were there, we went into the museum, the Edinburgh Museum. And we got a mug. It's really nice, isn't it? It's lovely to drink out of. Right, you didn't come here to listen to me blither on about tea. Who's that coming? I'm in a different room today. I'm in my front room. The last two videos I did in my dining room, because the kids were about, and so I could shut the door. I shut the door and put a sign on it saying, filming, do not disturb. And apparently they were listening outside the door. But they didn't realise it was very boring, so they went away. So, but they're at school today. So I've got the living room. So I've got two of my cats in here. Bear is over on the sofa, just settling down for sleep, and Bailey's on the windowsill. I might go and get them in a little bit to show them to you, but they tend to go and want to be put down, so they won't come and cuddle on my knee or anything like that, I'm afraid. Right, so what shall I tell you about first? I will show you how I'm getting on with my 10-stitch twist cover that I'm making. Hello, it stopped recording. I don't quite know why, so we're just going to try again. So I do apologise. Right, let me just show you my 10-stitch twist blanket. That was what I was about to do. So, if you remember, what I'd done is I had got all the different colours sock yarn that I was using, that I was going to make into this floor cushion, and I had them all in a big basket. So if I just show you. So this is the basket I had them all in. And this is what's left. I've got 3 colours left to do. I've done all the others that were in that blanket, that were in that basket. So I'll show you now what I've actually done. I'll just hold it up so you can see it. So loads and loads of lovely colours in this. I'm really pleased with how this has come out. This is pretty much how I had envisaged it. So this is paler in the middle, goes to this sort of orangey colour, through to pink, then through to sort of multicolours around here and here, darker multicolours, and then into green and blue. Just keep turning it around and you can see all the different bits of it. There we go. And then to turquoise, then into a slightly deeper blue and blue darker again. I'll just show it, just turn it around. So this is, each time what I've done is I've knitted with 2 strands of sock yarn, and I've held them both together, and then, as you can see, and then as I come to change a colour, I just change one of the colours, and then it just sort of segues really nicely into the next colour. So you get this lovely sort of mottledy effect where most of the time you actually can't tell where the colours change. I'm not really even sure myself. Look, there's a change there. There's a more obvious change there. And one there, you can see where it goes from one into another and into another there. So yes, it's almost the right size. I think I need to do either 1 or 2 more rounds to go around it. Now the pattern itself was quite interesting. I followed to the letter how to do this centre bit. There we go, that centre bit there. And then when you've done the centre bit, you sort of gradually come out and gradually sort of get bigger around here till you've got the width of this sort of snaky bit, which is 10 stitches, and then you just carry on going round with that. Now this is where I ran into trouble here. I must have done that 2 or 3 times, just doing it again and again and again, and I just couldn't. Sorry, I'm just looking. Bear's just ensconced himself on the bookshelf next to me. I think he's really confused as to what I'm doing and why I'm talking to myself. So yeah, I got really confused at that bit. I was doing it again and again and again. I was following the instructions absolutely perfectly. I don't know whether it was because I was using double-stranded sock yarn and it was written for DK. I assume it was written for DK. Have I not brought the pattern in? No, I've not brought the pattern in. But it just kept, I could not get it to lie flat, and it just kept bobbling up constantly. So in the end, I just kind of followed my nose and did it that way. Don't fall off, Bear. There we go. So yeah, it was a bit of a faff really to get going, but once I got going, it was fine. And the most useful piece of information that I read from somebody else who'd done this blanket was, when you are doing, I'm just trying to show you with my needle in here, okay, when you're doing this bit, basically you want to make sure as far as possible that your needle lies parallel with the stitches below. If it starts going like that, then you need to add in a short row, because you're using short row shaping in order to get this sort of round shape. And that was the best piece of advice I could read, because in the pattern it says, you know, the first round you do 2 rows and then a short row. The next round you do 3 rows, then a short row, and so on. And I found that was making it bobble up. So it worked best for me by just following this information and just basically doing it by eye, which was nice as well, because it meant I didn't have as much I didn't have to concentrate quite as hard. I didn't have to do counting. So interestingly, so this side that I've shown you is in theory the back. This bit is supposed to be the front. Ignore all my bits that I've got to sort of sew in the ends and things. But I didn't really like the way that this sits, this ridgy bit. I prefer the smoother look. So that's what I've kept as my my front of my project. So not long till it's finished, and then I need to decide. I'll just show you, these are the 2 yarns I'm using at the moment. Oh, they're beautiful, really, really lovely sock yarns. And that's the result you get of mixing those 2 together. They've both got little bits of pink and red in, and they sort of meet up occasionally. And you get these lovely little flashes of pink in. I love it. I love it. It's lovely because you just never quite know how the colours are going to mix. And yeah, so it's been fun. It can be a bit of a boring project, I will admit. Oh, I think I lost you again. I'm really sorry, but I think you only lost a couple of seconds. So basically, I was saying, yeah, that it does seem to grow a bit slowly when now it's got that bit bigger, but I take it to knit and natter groups, and then that way I don't sort of feel the time dragging, you know, when I'm knitting on it. So yeah, so hopefully next time I'm here, you will see that I will have finished it, I hope. I'll have finished the cover bit. Whether I've actually made it into a cushion or not is another question, because I still haven't quite decided what I want to do for the back. I really quite fancy a nice piece of velvet in a teal colour, because that's what my room is. This room is, the wall behind me is quite pale, but I've got sort of an accent wall here which is a teal colour. So I quite fancy a piece of velvet in teal, but I would need a square metre of it. And I keep looking out in, you know, sort of charity shops and in odds and ends just to see, because it's the kind of thing which will just turn up, you know, in one of those shops. But I haven't seen anything yet, so we'll see. Watch this space. I might end up putting something else on instead. I don't think I'll be paying for a full price piece of velvet fabric, because that would be very expensive. So next thing that I'm working on at the moment is this. Unfortunately, the ball was very loosely wound and it collapsed, so I had to rewind it into this. So you can't really see the colours, but it is a I wouldn't say variegated, but I don't mean variegated. I mean like a long dye one, you know, where there's lots of long bits of one colour, and then it, you know, sort of gradually moves into the next colour. So anyway, I'll stop wittering. I'll show you what I'm doing. So this is a feather and fan cowl, and I really love how the colours are coming out. So I've done basically 2 repeats, 1, 2 of the colourway, I should say. The pattern is really easy. It's a 20 stitch repeat. What I've done is I've put little markers, stitch markers in place in between each of the repeats, so you can see, I can see, you know, how long I've got to go in between each one. And then I have this little stitch marker for the end of the round, so I know when I've got to change. So you do basically one round with increase decreases and yarn overs, and then the next round is just plain knitting. So the pattern is Eco Crafters Feather and Fan Cowl, which is that one, which is a free pattern on Ravelry, and it is really easy to do, and it's really nice. Look how clear that graph is. It's just dead simple. I mean, that is the pattern. Two round pattern with a 20 stitch repeat. So again, lovely easy project. It's coming up really nicely. Let me just show you that. Look at that lovely stitching. Really nice. And the lovely way the colours are going as well. So what I'm thinking I might do, excuse me, is do another colour repeat. So I end up with a, and then when I get to the white again, I'll bind off like that. And it'll just make a nice cowl just to sit on your neck. Very nice if you wear purple, which I do. I love purple. Oh, I should tell you as well. Actually, this will be nice. Sort of. I'm gonna show you some finished projects now. So in the spirit of showing a finished project, I'll just tell you about this that I'm wearing. This is a Gardengate sweater. I should have looked up and I've forgotten, so I can't tell you who the designer is or whether or not the pattern is free. I don't think it was. And if I just stand up a little bit, and then you can see, should have done this a bit further away, shouldn't I? What I did is I used the Now this is the problem we see. I think I've said before, I've got long COVID, and one of the things I have is brain fog. And the problem with brain fog is that you quite often, you know something, it's just within your grasp, but you can't quite get it. And I know what I'm trying to say, and I can't find the words, but basically it's those yarns with the long repeat of colour. Oh, they're really popular. I'm sorry, I can't remember which one it is. It's cotton anyway. And I used one of their cotton. I used one of their colours. And there was enough in the whole ball to do the whole sweater. So you start at the top and work down. So you start with the navy and work down, and then I got a ball of the white, so that I could do the Gardengate design. It really does look like those Gardengates, doesn't it? You know, with these little bits and the lovely sort of, you know, this bit on here. Really, it's really lovely. Yeah, and just knit down, and then when I had to knit back for the sleeves, I just used the white, you know, just to knit on for the sleeves. I'll try and remember to put it in the description below, the type of yarn that I'm talking about, because I don't think I'm making much sense. I'm really sorry. It's very frustrating, probably for you as well as for me. And actually, before I show you some more finished projects, I'll just tell you a little bit about what's behind me. So this beautiful blanket that I've got here, this was made for me by some lovely friends of mine when my marriage broke down, and I was in quite a bad place, and they sent me this as a sort of a hug. They called it a hug blanket, and I love it so much. I got asked what colours I liked, and I said, oh, I love rainbow colours. Not that keen on orange, but you know, I quite like it. So that's what they did. They made me this blanket in rainbow colours. It's folded in half, and the other half has sort of greens and oranges and yellows on. But yeah, it's lovely, and you know, as the weather gets colder, it'll end up round me. Yeah, so that's that. And that's my sweater that I'm wearing. Let me show you some other things that I've just finished recently. So I got given, excuse me, I'm just gonna have a drink of tea. I got given a bag for, well, I say a bag. It was actually, you know, those bags that you get pillows in. You know how big they are. You get 2 pillows in a bag, and sometimes if you get really posh pillows, you get a bag that has a zip round, and you can use it for other things. Well, I got given one of those pillow bags. So it's like, I can't even show it on the screen, can I? It's massive. You know what size pillows are. Full of yarn. Left over from a friend. She said, I've got loads of leftover yarn, I just want to clear it all out, all things that I'm not going to use, or mostly acrylics and stuff, and I just can't refuse. I have far too much yarn, and there I am saying, I was coming away with it just going, I can't believe I'm just taking more yarn off you. Well, they were all laughing at me. Anyway, I made it my mission to knit through all this yarn. I thought, this is ridiculous, I can't have this sitting around. So, and also, and I think I mentioned briefly last time, I'm running a stall at my church just before Christmas on the 4th of December, where I'm going to have a table where I'm selling all the things that I've made this year. This has been my sort of thing I've been doing this year. So I'm going to be selling all the stuff that I've made this year, to raise money for Christians Against Poverty, which is a group that we support at church. So I've been making loads and loads of stuff, which you won't see around my house, because I'm hoping people will buy it. But this is why I've just been making loads and loads and loads of little bits and pieces recently. So when I looked at all this yarn, I just thought, I mean, there's 2 years worth of knitting in there at least. So I thought, I am going to have to double some things up in order to, you know, to make it go a bit quicker. So what I did was I made this cushion cover. Unfortunately, I haven't got a cushion in it, but I'll just show you anyway. And I did this on 10mm needles, and I held 4 strands together. And then, because it was a bit boring afterwards, I added this little applique of crocheted leaves and flowers, and the flowers are using the yarn that I've used in here. And then all I did, this is just a simple envelope design, and I put 3 big buttons on the back, which don't match, but they sort of tone nicely with it, and it fits beautifully on a standard size cushion. Basically, I've got a cushion, which I'll show you in a minute because I did another one too. So and I just really like the way that these come out with the stitching. It's just really, you know, you've got this lovely sort of mouldy, mottledy effect, and that's four different strands. If you look really carefully, you can sort of see, you know, all the different strands together. And then when I did the little flowers, I think I used 2 strands together for those, and I think I did them on a 6mm hook, but I'm not sure, I can't quite remember. And then just added those the little buttons in for the centres on there. So that was really successful. That got rid of, I think, about 7 balls of yarn. Some of them were littler than others. Sorry, I'm just watching one of my cats across the street. Just wondering what she's doing. It's one of the white ones. Just going for a little nose across at my neighbour's house. Right, so so successful, I thought I'd do it again. So here is the next one. I put this is actually in the cushion cover, so you can see it. Now I didn't have lots of the same colours when I did this one, so you can see where it sort of changes from one colour into another, and I actually really love the effect. I think it looks really nice. I didn't put any flowers on this one because it had a green background, and I thought, what colour flowers would you put? And I had sort of thought yellow, and then I thought yellow's going to be a bit bright, and so in the end I just thought I'd leave it. And then I've done the same thing on the back, envelope back with 3 buttons on. Whoops, one of them's come undone. So oh no, I've got 4 buttons on this one. So I've got 2 green ones and 2 wooden ones, because I only had 3 wooden ones, so I couldn't use all 3 wooden ones. That would look a bit weird. So I thought I'm going to go for 2 green and 2 wooden. I'm really pleased with this. I really like the colour. It's very huggy. It's very soft, and of course it's a nice thick cover, and it's all acrylic and all go in the washing machine. So that's that one. On the theme of still using up more yarn, so again there was some eyelash yarn in this stuff as well, and I thought there wasn't really enough. There wasn't quite a full ball of the eyelash stuff, so I was trying to decide what to do with it, and then I sort of hit upon the idea of a hot water bottle cover. I think hot water bottle covers are going to be big this year. If you go and look around the shops, you'll see there are loads and loads and loads for sale at the moment, and they're that lovely sort of soft furry fabric. So I thought, well, this is sort of will compete with that. So the colour is amazing. Look at this. It's absolutely bonkers. So this is like, there was an eyelash yarn, and I've used it held together with 2 other yarns, sort of two greeny coloured yarns. In fact, you can see the ones I've used at the bottom. There we go. And it just sort of buttons up at the bottom. 3 big random buttons as well, and then I had a tiny bit of this, so I used it for the top, just to cover the top. It's really soft and furry, so it is really slightly bonkers, but it's actually really, really cuddly and soft. So I'm hoping that's going to go well at my sale. I'm going to do some more hot water bottle covers. I think I showed you last time one, didn't I? I did one with a pocket in. So this is the same sort of design, but I didn't do a pocket with this one because I didn't have enough of the eyelash yarn to do a pocket, and I didn't want to do one in a different sort of yarn. So so there we go. And then also from this batch of yarn, there was a not quite complete ball of this sort of colour. I'll show you that. So what I did was I put it together with this, which also came from that bag, and I have made, show you, fingerless gloves. Really, really simple pattern. All it was rib at the bottom, you can see my watch in there, stocking stitch, rib at the top, and I just used this colour, which I used at the top for the rib, was what I used at the bottom here. Sorry if I'm looking slightly off camera as I'm showing you, it's just so I can make sure I'm getting it all in screen. And then I also made a little hat to go with it as well. And when I took these in to show my friend who'd given me the yarn, I took the cushions in and the water bottle and the sort of the hat and the glove set, and she said, "Oh my goodness, you've actually used those yarns." She said, "They've been sitting in my stash for ages because I didn't like the colours and I didn't know what to do with them." She said, "I would never have thought of putting that with this purple, but it actually works really well." So I thought that was a very nice compliment. Anyway, so also some more yarn I had from this stash. I made a couple more bobble hats. So these I've made on a 6mm needle, and these are, well, this bottom one is a chunky yarn, and I use that for the bobble as well. And then in the middle, this is two DKs held together. So there's a lilac and then just a slightly grayer lilac, and I love this mold effect. Really love it. I don't know whether you can see that in the light here. I hope you can. This time I've got the window sort of there, so it's the light should be slightly better, I think, for showing the colours of what I'm doing, because before my window was behind me. And again, I made another hat. Again, this is two yarns held together at the bottom here, and then a different 2 yarns held together in the middle, and then a pom-pom made out of the bottom one. These 2 hats are the pattern's called Warm One. I think it's the Warm One hat, or Warm One, I think, and it's a free pattern. And it's, again, really, really simple. 6mm needles. I think it was cast on 64. I can remember this because I've just done this. Cast on 64 stitches. Knit 1, purl 1 for 22 rounds. And then stocking stitch for 22 rounds. And then you decrease, starting with knit 2, knit 6. And then alternating knit 2, knit 5, and so on, as you would do for a normal hat. And they are really nice. Lovely. I've got a sort of average size head, and they fit really nice. So they'd fit bigger children, women hats. Probably not men's unless they've got a small head, but so cozy. This is really, really nice. So sorry, my hair looks a bit of a mess this morning. I have, when you struggle with fatigue, getting in the shower and washing your hair can be a bit of a chore sometimes. So I swear by, sorry, lost you again. But there we go, we're back now. Yeah, I swear by dry shampoo. It's fantastic stuff. So I put some on my hair this morning and then thought, it feels a bit weird. And I realised I hadn't sprayed dry shampoo on my hair, I'd sprayed deodorant. But anyway, it was just too much to actually go and do something about it. I don't know what's going on up the stairs. I think Bear's, I don't know, it's Bear or Bailey, or what are you doing? No, there's Bailey. I think it must be Lily. Lily the cat has an absolute obsession with Nerf gun bullets. So my teens have grown out of playing with Nerf guns, but our house is still covered in Nerf gun bullets because Lily finds them and plays with them. And what she does is she'll find one, she gets so excited that she'll run around the house with it in her mouth going meow 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 meow. And it's, for the first few times she did it, I was in a panic. I thought something had happened to her and she was like crying. And then I found her and she was like, look what I got. She gets very excited over Nerf gun bullets. So, yeah, I think that's probably what she's doing at the moment. Right, so, oh, one other thing that I've made with yarn from my friend. I made a little baby jacket. I'm really pleased with this. It's so cute. This is a free pattern as well. It's called G'day Baby. Australian pattern, you might guess. It's absolutely gorgeous. It comes in 2 sizes, and I can't remember whether the sizes are 0 to 3 and 3 to 6, or 3 to 6 and 6 to 12. But either way, I did the bigger size, so make your mind up. Do you think that's a 3 to 6 or a 6 to 12? I'm not sure, to be honest. My babies were all really tiny, so I think it would have fitted them at 6 to 12. But you know, hey. Anyway, this was made with 3 different yarns, believe it or not. So I had 2. They were all sort of oh, it's Bailey being bonkers. Sorry, it must be very annoying that I'm being distracted by these cats and you can't even see who they are and what they're doing. So anyway, so I had 3 different yarns. They were all I think patterns. Pattern? How do you pronounce it? Not sure actually. I think I always say no, I don't know what I say. Let's go with patterns. So I had 3 different yarns. 2 of them were they were all this pale pink colour, but 2 of them were sparkly, and 1 of them was a not sparkly one. And the 2 that were sparkly were from different dye lots. So one was a little bit paler than the other. So what I did when I was doing the garter stitch neck, and I don't know whether this is going to show up on here. Oh, you can just see. So you can see basically what I did was I alternated the sparkly yarn, one of the sparkly yarns, with the plain pink yarn. So you can see each of the garter stitch ridges is a different one. Very, very subtle. But it just gave it a little bit, you know, that made oh, in fact actually yeah, so that's the sparkly one. You can just see a little bit of sparkle in it, and that's the plain one. When I came to knit the body, I used all 3. So if you use 3 yarns when you're knitting, you can do a single row of each colour backwards, and you know, because as you go backwards and forwards, rather than if you're using 2 colours, then you have to do 2 rows, because you have to go backward, go all the way across and then all the way back to pick up the new one. And this, I think, worked really well for this. So if I just show you on the body again, now I'm not sure that you can really see. You can probably see there's a little bit of a difference, but you can't really tell. It doesn't really look stripy as such, just a little bit occasionally in certain lights. But the overall effect is that you've got a cardigan that is all made, yeah, you can just see a very tiny subtle stripe, can't you? That is basically, it's all one colour. But I didn't have enough of any of those 3 colours to actually make the cardigan. So that's how I used up those bits. So there you go. There's a little bit of a tip for if you've got just some little bits to use up and they don't quite match. It's also quite a good thing to do if you have yarn in 2 different dye lots and you're wanting to make something. If you alternate the 2 dye lots, then going backwards and forwards, then it won't show up as much as if you use one and then switch to another, where you'll have a more definite sort of change. Oh yes, I forgot, there's one more thing. So another thing I got from this friend was some she had a couple of little kits of things which she didn't want anymore. I've got a couple to do still. So I've got a crochet kit with like a llama and a guitar and a cactus and something else I can't remember, sort of Mexican type thing. So I've got to do that one. Yeah, that's crochet. And then I've got another one which is a sheep keyring. But then she also gave me these one, which was Christmas decorations, and I was just like, oh, I have to do these. So I just want to show you these. These are so cute. Look, hold him up. Look, little Robin with his little hat on. He's so cute. And then there's a little fox in his hat, and an owl with his lovely little scarf on, and this is perhaps my favourite one, a reindeer. I love this. So what I did for the eyes, I've just used some little beads which came from a necklace which somebody gave me, which they didn't want anymore. And then the antlers are made from a pipe cleaner, and then I've done like French knitting, I-cord, that's the word, which I've put around there. So the pipe cleaner goes up around here, it goes through the hat and up this side, and then these bits are just sewn on afterwards as well. But isn't that just so cute? So this was from a magazine, but yeah, so these are going to go in my sale, and I will hopefully make some more as well at some point. I'm just pulling the hat back down on the robin. I think his hat needs to be a bit further down, don't you? So yeah, let me just stand back a bit, then you can see them. I'm really pleased with them. And then I just put a little bit of, it was just a little bit of sparkly, oops, a little bit of sparkly cord, which I put in there to hang them up with. So yeah, I'm definitely going to make some more of those. Just on one of each for now. But they were really fun to knit, and they were quite quick as well, and the patterns were really good. So I'm sorry if it's very frustrating if I'm showing you stuff and you think, oh, I really want to knit this, but I don't know where would I find the pattern. So I do try and tell people what I'm doing. So that 10 stitch twist blanket, I don't know whether I said, was that's a free pattern by Frankie Brown on Ravelry. And I did say about the feather and fan one, didn't I? But the other things that I made, like the hats and oh no, the hat I did say, didn't I? That was a warm one. But the cushions and the hot water bottle cover were patterns that I've just made up, so I can't really share those with you just now. So the last thing I've just got to show you is actually a little bit of sewing. So I've been making, this is also for Christmas, these little things. I'm really pleased with these. I've got lots of, I've just done I think 10 so far. And they've got the, it ended up off centre. I don't know what I did wrong there, but anyway, I've embroidered the numbers on them. And basically what I'm going to do with these, show you, look, I've got loads and loads of lovely, again, I got given some Christmas fabric, and I had some in my stash as well. I've got some really cute little patterns, and then I found some. This was one I found in a charity shop. I took my kids to where did we go? Hunstanton. Was it Hunstanton, or did we go to Cramer? I think it was Cramer. We went to Cramer, which is on the Norfolk coast. Oh, I'm just going to show you another one. Look at the little dachshund on the sleigh. It's just so cute. And that's a snowman. Yeah, and I took my youngest teen and youngest teen's boyfriend, and they disappeared off onto the beach for the day, and I went around the shops. I did go on the beach for a little bit, but I thought it'd be more fun just to go out. I went around the shops, I went to the church, which was beautiful, a beautiful stained glass window in there, and I went to a cafe, I had a cup of tea, piece of cake. It was really, really nice. I had such a lovely day there. It was just towards the end of the summer. I think it was just before they went back to school. So I think it was the Thursday before bank holiday weekend. So the teens had a lovely time playing on the beach. I had a lovely time going around all the charity shops and the bookshops and the craft shops. And in fact, actually, I had meant to show you some of my purchases from that day, but I've forgotten about it and I've left them in the other room. But one of the things I did get was some of the fabric, which I've just shown you from one of the charity shops. Anyway, so what my plan is to do with these is they're actually from a pattern I made probably about 20 years ago now, when my oldest kids were really little. And for Advent, instead of them having a chocolate Advent calendar, I made loads of these stockings, hung them up on a ribbon, And then in each stocking, I put a chocolate in for each child. Usually like a Quality Streets or Roses or Heroes or Celebrations, you know, those sort of things. And then they each got one of those chocolates. I find those chocolates are nicer than the ones you get in the calendars, unless you get the really expensive calendars. And basically, you know, eco-friendly, recycling, didn't use these, got these out every year. And then all it cost me was a tub of chocolates, which is like a £5, I think. So I found that worked really well, and my kids absolutely loved it. Although it was always a bit of a faff, because there'd be one kid who didn't like nuts and one who didn't like toffees or something. So it was always like trying to work out. Everybody got one they liked. Anyway, fussy kids. So I decided it was about time to upgrade them, because my stockings are looking a bit sorry for themselves, because they've had 20 years service. And also, when I made them, I barely had any fabric. I was really scratching around for little bits, and some of the fabric I used was a bit, well, none of it was Christmassy particularly. So I decided I'd do some more this year. And then I also thought what I'd do is I'd do 2 or 3 sets of them, and then I would sell the other sets with money going towards CAP, Christians Against Poverty, as I said. So yes, so I started making these. I ran out of felt though, so I've just got some more felt and some more ribbon, and I will make some more of these. So they're quite quick and easy to do. Yeah, so I'm quite pleased with those. And then the last thing I've got to tell you, I keep saying how much yarn I've got. Ridiculous amounts of yarn. Far too much yarn. So what did I do when I went to Aldi? Bought more yarn. In my defence, I don't know if you have Aldi where you are. If you don't live in the UK, I don't know whether you have it. If you live in Europe, you probably do. I'm not sure whether they've made it across the pond to the States, or and I'm sure they're not in Australia. Aldi are, let me just show their logo in case you recognise it. There we go. Aldi is great because they're quite a cheap supermarket, but I think their food is actually really good quality. I really like their fruit and their meat and cheese and stuff like that. But one of the best things about Aldi is what we call the aisle of weirdness. And on the aisle of weirdness, which is usually 2 aisles to be fair, which run up the centre of the store, and you can find anything there. So I'm preaching to the converted if I'm talking to anybody in the UK, because you'll all know about it. But basically, one day you'll find scuba diving stuff, the next week it'll be a ukulele, or following that it'll be baby baths, or maybe furniture for your garden. Anyway, every so often they do craft stuff in there as well, and I always have a look, I always have a poke around. I have bought some fabric, some fat quarters from there before. I'm not actually, of all the things that Aldi sell, I don't particularly rate the quality of their fat quarters, of the fabric that's there. I don't like the feel of it. And they always have, they quite often have yarn there as well. And I always have a look at the yarn. I always have a little proddle, a little poke at it. And just everything, but most of the time I don't buy from yarn. I have bought yarn from there in the past, but most of the time I don't. And anyway, I just saw this and I just love this colour. I absolutely love it. It's actually, I don't know whether you can see, yeah, catching the light, it's marled. It's not just a solid colour, it's marled, and it's so beautiful. It's called Crocus. And yeah, I just really like it. So I bought 2 balls because 1 isn't quite enough to make a jumper or a sweater. 2 is far too much, but I'll put the rest of it into hats or something. So probably like the stuff I got from my from the yarn festival in the summer, none of which I've done anything with yet. It's still sitting in the bag, it's all ready to go. Well, I'm enthusiastic about what I'm going to make with them. I haven't made anything yet. I'm still working through this stash of extra yarn. I have this thing about leftovers. I just love working with leftovers, really do. So there we are. So anyway, the plan is to make a sweater, and what I'm sort of thinking is like a winter version of this. So a yoked sweater with and I shall use a cream Aran colour probably to do a yoke pattern. So it'll just be those two colours, and just a small subtle pattern, I think, in the cream, and then let this do the talking. My other thought is that I might make a nice chunky cardigan out of it, but we'll see. Not quite decided on that yet. So yeah, so that's honestly, I'm incorrigible. I really am. It's like, I don't need any more yarn. Can't help but look. I had some friends of mine go to a car boot sale every Sunday, and they're like, you should come along, Jill, you should come along. And I'm just like, I daren't, because I know I'll just come back with a load more stuff that I don't need. But there we go. So that is my purchases and my finished projects and my ongoing projects, which I have been doing in this last while. And hopefully I'll be back with another update in the not too distant future, and I might do a bit more. I might do a bit of like a blast from the past and show you some things I've made in the past as well, if I haven't got that much to show you next time, because I've got loads and loads of things around the house. I'm very much a believer that the things I make should be used. I love that quote by William Morris: have nothing in your houses that you do not know to be useful or believe to be beautiful. And I quote that to the kids all the time, and they quite like, they go around and they're going, what's this one? And I'll go, useful, useful, beautiful, useful, beautiful. It's a fun game. So that's it for now. I shall stop wittering. I shall pour myself another cup of tea, and hopefully I shall see you again soon. Bye.